Hello and God bless. My name is Neville Solomon and welcome to Virtual Church TV. Today we're going to be talking about what is purpose. So because we're complicated, even though we have one purpose and we have some primary means of how to meet that purpose, the main thing for us to do is to understand the foundation. And out of the foundation, now God will work with us and work with our personality. So I just wanted to talk about that because we're going to be talking about the purpose of humanity. In order for me to go into the purpose of humanity, I first have to talk about just what purpose is in general. And then we can talk about God's purpose, creation's purpose, and then humanity's purpose. So purpose as a noun is the reason for which something is done or created, for which something exists. So we exist for a purpose. So there's a reason why we exist. So I'm Neville, and Neville exists for a purpose. I believe that purpose is found in God, but there's a purpose because that's why I exist. When we're talking about purpose as a verb of what you do, of the doing of something, purpose is to have as one's intention or objective. So God is thinking about something that relates to me that creates my purpose. And even myself and yourself, there are things that you're thinking that will create your purpose. So purpose is something that is very, very important. Purpose is an inspiration that God puts on the inside of you. And closely related to purpose is an idea called function, how something functions. Function is very, very closely related to purpose, but function is more so a clue of what your purpose is, and function is not your purpose. So a function is an activity or purpose natural to or intended for a person or thing. A purpose is to work or operate in a proper or particular way. So without being too complicated, I'm going to talk about God's purpose. So God's purpose is to love humanity and to love creation. When you sit down and you look at how God created the world and you look at what God did to create the world, the only conclusion you can really come to is God wanted to have someone and something to love because he has no need from us. There's no need that God has. And generally speaking, purpose comes out of need, but there is no need that God has. So the only thing that God would probably do in terms of why he had created this world is to create a people and to create a world to love. So that's God's purpose. It's to love humanity, to love creation. Creation's purpose is to serve humanity and ultimately to serve God, because that's why God has given man dominion over creation, so that man could utilize creation to serve God. But God has also put into man's purpose, I'm going to talk about man's purpose, is that man's purpose is to serve and to love God, and also to love God's creation. So we have authority on creation, but we don't have authority to create products for ourselves or to destroy the world. We have authority for the purpose of loving God through creation. So we're honoring creation and we love the things in creation, but we ultimately are doing it out of a respect and a love toward God. We're like employees of God, watching over what he owns. And that's the purpose of man. The purpose of man is to serve and to love God. So when we're talking about serving and loving God, it's very important for us to understand that purpose and function are two different things. So the function of a bird, a bird that can fly, I'll pick a seagull. The function of a seagull is to fly. Seagulls were made to fly. If a seagull is not flying, there's something that is wrong with the seagull, because the seagull was created to fly. That's the function of a seagull. But the purpose of a seagull is supposed to operate and to function within the parameters of the world system, which is ultimately controlled by people. So the purpose of a seagull in its flying and in its existence is to serve humanity and ultimately to serve God. So purpose is something that is greater than function, but at the end of the day, a part of the seagull's purpose is to fly. A seagull can go places that a frog can't go, and God created them the way that they are for their environments, ultimately to be a part of a grand and diverse world. So as human beings now, our purpose is not primarily to fly, but our purpose is primarily to love and to serve God. And ultimately, in loving and serving God, to do the things that God has commanded, and God has commanded for us to have stewardship over the world, and to care for creation, and to care for other people, and to care even for ourselves. Because our bodies, our minds, our souls, our spirit, all belong to God. So we need to care for all of those things out of respect for God.